My name is Brittany Coy, and I decided to do my presentation on St. Michael the Archangel. This is obviously a picture of the sculpture. Okay, so some of you may remember this. We did cover it in class kind of briefly. When I was picking it, I wanted something that was interesting, but not something you'd pick instantly and say, oh yeah, that's definitely cool. Something that was cool, but you didn't know it was cool until you looked into it. So the name, St. Michael the Archangel, pretty obvious because he's under an arch. The sculptor, because it's so late, we do not know who it was or who it was from, but we do know it was done in ivory and possibly somewhere in Constantinople during early Byzantine era, which was approximately 573. This is a little map to show you where Constantinople is, in case you have no idea like I did. Okay, so some important information. As I mentioned, this is St. Michael, and he is standing under an archway. The orb and the staff, which is the round object and the staff in his hand, represent power and kind of imply that he is giving power to some probably leader of the time or greater source. And there's a cross above his head, as we can see, in a wreath sort of fashion. So we know that we can associate it with Christianity and the power of God. Okay, so what made this cool? Well, a big thing was the size. We can't really tell because, as we've mentioned before, everything is on the screen and it's all the same size. But when we think ivory, we think something small because it has to come from an elephant tusk. But this was over 18 inches tall. So if you imagine a ruler and then plus 5 inches, it was very, very large compared to what we're working with. Also, the detail and the proportion, I have an enlarged picture next to the picture so that you can see that when we think of Byzantine, we think of abnormal proportions, trying to send what the story was, and this is very much humanistic. You can see the elbows, the toes on the figure look very realistic, the drapery folds, the detail just engraved into the initial hair. If you can see the wings, they have little etches. And another interesting fact was that this is half of a diptych. Now, for those of you that don't know, a diptych is sort of like a two-fold way of presenting art or a story, which, as I mentioned with the staff and the orb, he is giving power probably to this ruler or leader of the time. So it's kind of this mystery. We don't know what the other side was. It's not around. We've lost it. So I thought that was really interesting. This is only half of the story. Okay, so the thing at the top, the Greek text, I didn't know what it said at first. I did some research, and it says, receive these gifts, further implying that, again, St. Michael was probably giving these gifts, this power, to the ruler of the time. And then, as I was talking about earlier, just a different slide with the attention to detail. You've got the Corinthian-style arches, the cross, the Christianity, all of these different engravings and etches into this very large piece of ivory. And I just thought altogether it made a really great piece of artwork. These are my references, and thank you for your time.